Hello all, this is Dr. Rajni Sharma, Associate Professor. I present this lecture for Gyandoot 2.0. My topic today is Machines and Emotions, an essay written by Bertrand Russell. First, we shall have a look on life history of Russell. Russell was born on May 18, 1872. He was a philosopher, logician, essayist, and social critic. He wrote on logic, mathematics, linguistics, philosophy of language, epistemology, and metaphysics. He is known best for championing of logicism. He was awarded Order of Merit in 1949 and Nobel Prize for Literature in 1950. He passed away in 1970 at the age of 97. The famous works of Russell are German Social Democracy, The Principle of Mathematics, Analysis of Mind, Introduction to Mathematical Philosophy, and A History of Western Philosophy. We shall have a look on the theme of machines and emotions. This is an essay which exposes the effect of prevalent industrial culture on human beings. Russell says that man is naturally in love with machines since his childhood. Today, man is so much devoted and charmed by machines that art of culture are secondary things to him. Some of the activists, artists, and poets had cautioned mankind of this approaching danger, but no one paid attention until situations aggravated and machines occupied the psyche of man wholesomely. Russell maintains that machines benefit the master and harm the workers. It is natural in a man that he loves to be praised and he runs after the things with which respect is won. His basic aim is neither money nor material goods, but respect in society. So, machines do not bring happiness. Contrarily, they increase destitution in society, make wars ferocious, and deprive human beings of happiness. Man is growing more violent because of machines. The only remedy to this malady is taking breaks at intervals and hazard one's life through adventures. That is the solution to control the growth of anarchic passions developed with machines. Now we shall have a look on important extracts from the essay and we shall explain them one by one. The 19th century considered itself superior to its predecessors, chiefly because of its mechanical progress. Peacock, in its early years, makes fun of the steam intellect society because he is a literary man to whom the Greek and Latin authors represent civilization, but he is conscious of being out of touch with the prevailing tendencies of his time. In the beginning of the essay, Russell is throwing light on the trend of the society. He says that 19th century considered itself superior. Why? Because of the progress of machines. And the machines had a great progress in this century. Some of the activists had cautioned mankind of this, and Peacock was one of them. Peacock was a great English novelist, and he cautioned mankind by making fun of steam intellect society, that is, the society which believes in scientific progress of machines. Because he is a literary man, Peacock, being a person of literature, a person of words, he is making fun of the society which believes in progress of science, which honors the progress of science, but he is also conscious of being out of touch with the prevailing tendencies of his time. So, though Peacock is making fun of steam intellect society which is making scientific advancement and which regards scientific progress as the very root of the progress. That is because Peacock doesn't belong to scientific side. He belongs to literature, and to him, Greek and Latin authors mean civilization, not the progress of science. But he is also aware that he is going out of touch with the trend of the time. Rousseau's disciples with the return to nature, and Lake poets with medievalism, William Morris with his news from nowhere, a country it is always June and everyone is engaged in haymaking, all represent a purely sentimental and essentially reactionary opposition to machinery. Here, Russell is throwing light. First, he is giving example of Pico, who is against machines. Then he is giving other examples like Rousseau's disciples. They called people to return to nature, not to flow with the progress of science. And the other ones were lake poets, the poets of early 19th century like William Wordsworth, Shelley and Keats. They also called people to return to medieval ages because they produced in their literature, through their poems, they produce an atmosphere of medieval times. And William Morris also with his news from nowhere. William Morris is also his through his novel News from Nowhere. In this novel, there is a country where it is always June and everyone is busy in haymaking. So, this English artist William Morris is also producing an atmosphere where everybody is busy with nature. They are in natural surroundings. Everybody is busy in haymaking. That is a symbol of a happy atmosphere, and all represent purely sentimental and essentially reactionary opposition to machinery. So all these people are producing something which belongs to, which appeals to sentiments of mankind, and that is reactionary to essentially presenting, showing reaction against machines. So naturally, because machines are belonging to our intellect and literature is belonging to our appealing to our emotions. So all these poets, aesthetes, they appealed to sentiments and they cautioned mankind against the danger which machines were bringing into our lives. Samuel Butler was the first man to apprehend intellectually the non-sentimental case against machine. And Butler was the first person who anticipated the danger which machines were producing, and he apprehended the non-sentimental case against machines. He apprehended that machines are presenting such an atmosphere where sentiments are suppressed and they are anti-sentimental because they suppress our feelings and they pay more attention to our intellect. Machines are worshipped because they are beautiful, valued because they confer power, they are hated because they are hideous, and loathed because they impose slavery. Here, Russell is presenting all the aspects of machines. Different people take machines in different ways. Some are worshipping them because machines look beautiful to them, and some are giving them value because they are making them powerful. They give them a sense of power. And some hate them because they are deadly, they are very dangerous, and they are loathed. Some people loathe them, hate them because they make them slaves. Once you start using machines, you are a slave to machines and you can't live without them. Do not let us suppose that one of these attitudes is right and the other wrong. All these aspects are right. It is not that only one aspect is right. Machines are only worshipable and they are only valuable. All these aspects are right. Machines are worshipped, valued, hated, and loathed. All these are the same. And one should not think that one aspect is right. Here, the essayist is giving example from Gulliver's Travel. He says that all these aspects are right. We cannot say that one is right and one is wrong. And he is giving that example. Men have heads, but wrong to say that they have feet. The example is from Gulliver's Travel, in which Gulliver is going to city of Lilliput, where the people of Lilliput, when they are very small in dimension, and when they look at Gulliver, it is not possible for them to look in one view or whole of the body of Gulliver, which is too large for them. So some are expressing their views that Gulliver is only having head, no feet, because they are unable to see the feet when they are standing at the side of the head. And some are expressing the views that Gulliver is having only feet and no head, because they are standing at the side of his feet. In this way, Gulliver is having feet as well as head, or both the expressions are right, but people who are standing at the side of feet, they are unable to see the head. In this way, machines are also having all these aspects, but different people take them in different way. A machine is like a jinn in Arabian Nights, beautiful and beneficent to master, but hideous and terrible to his enemies. But in our day, nothing is allowed to show itself with such naked simplicity. The master of the machine, it is true, lives at a distance from it, where he cannot hear its noise or see its unsightly heaps of slag and smell its noxious fumes. If he ever sees it, the occasion is before it is installed in use, when he can admire its force or its delicate precision without being troubled by dust and heat. Here, Russell is elaborating the point which he has given in previous paragraph. He says, machine is like a jinn in Arabian Nights. In the stories Arabian Nights, a jinn is presented by the writer who is always demanding something, because he can't live idle. He is requesting again and again to the master to give him some work. In the same way, machines also are like a jinn. They are demanding. Their demands are limitless. They always demand fuel or other things. So a machine is like a jinn in Arabian Nights. And this machine is having a dual personality. It is beautiful and beneficent to its master, because it is giving him benefit, very profit in business, but hideous and terrible to his enemies and those people who are enemy. The master can do harm to them through his machines. You can take the example of a automobile gun, with which a master can do harm to his enemy. But in our day, nothing is allowed to show itself in such naked simplicity. Today's age, that is not very simple. The master of the machine, it is true, lives at a distance from it. Russell says that today, in the age of scientific advancement, nothing is allowed to show itself in such a simple way. For example, we can't see how it is doing harm, because the master of the machine, the proprietor of the factory, lives at a distance from it, and he is not harmed by the noise or the unsightly heaps of slag or smell its noxious fumes. He can't see the slag. He can't inhale the harmful fumes which are produced inside the factory, and the people living near about. If he ever sees it, even if he sees those machines, he goes to the factory only at the time of its inauguration, when it is installed, and after that he is just collecting money from a distance. He can admire its force at the time of its inauguration. He is admiring the force and delicate precision without troubled by the dust and heat which is to be produced by the machine when it starts working. One of the most powerful of all the passions is the desire to be admired and respected. As things stand, admiration and respect are given to the man who seems to be rich. Here, Russell is expressing his view that in today's era, respect is given to a person who is wealthy. So it is most powerful of all the patients of human beings that they desire respect in their life. And different societies are giving respect to different things. The chief reason of this is because of the desire for respect. People wish to be rich because most of the societies give value to that person, give respect to that person who is having wealth. The actual goods purchased by their money play quite a secondary part, and the purchasing is secondary thing. The first thing is because people want to get respect through their wealth. Take, for example, a millionaire who cannot tell one picture from another but has acquired a gallery of old masters by the help of experts. Here, Russell Stone is somewhat satirical. He is throwing a satire on the people who are buying art, buying very costly pieces of art, for example, painting or drawing, to show people that they are wealthy, because in the drawing rooms people can see them very easily. This millionaire has no interest in art, he has no knowledge of art, because he cannot recognize one picture from the other. For him all the pictures are the same, but he has a gallery of these pictures because he can show his wealth in the better way through these pieces of art. The only pleasure he derives from the pictures is the thought that others know how much they are costing, and he wants to show people how much he has spent in buying those costly pictures. He would derive more direct enjoyment from Christmas cards. That much of enjoyment he can have from Christmas cards also, because for him Christmas card is that valuable as is those paintings, because for he doesn't recognize these pictures as card is having carrying a picture on it. In the same way, these pieces of art are also the same for him, but he would not obtain the same satisfaction for his vanity. But to satisfy his pride, to satisfy his ego of being wealthy, to make a show of his wealth, he is exhibiting those costly paintings in his drawing room. Machines deprive us of two things which are certainly important ingredients of human happiness, namely spontaneity and variety. Machines have their own pace, their own insistent demands. A man who has expensive plant must keep it working. The great trouble with the machine from the point of view of the emotions is its regularity. And of course, conversely, the great objection to the emotions from the point of view of machine is the irregularity. Here, Russell is differentiating human instinct from machine. He says that human beings are very much in nature different from machines. Machines are depriving us of two things which are very important elements of human happiness, and they are spontaneity and variety. Because machines produce the same, no variety is there, no spontaneity is there. Machines have their own pace, their own demands. A man who has expensive plant must keep it working. Machines demands, once the plant is erected, it has to be fed, its demands are to be fulfilled. The great trouble with machine from the point of emotions is its regularity. Machines are regular while human instincts are irregular. So there is a lot of difference between machine and human beings. So if human beings desire the company of machine, it cannot give them any satisfaction or happiness. It may satisfy the ego of a person, but the real thing, the real pleasure which he can get by satisfying his emotions, that is impossible for him to get from machines. Of course, conversely, contrarily, the great objection to emotions from the point of view of machine is irregularity. So machines are directly opposing, challenging the nature of human beings, because human emotions are not regular and machines are very much regular. As the machine dominates the thought of people who consider themselves serious, the highest praise they give to a man is to suggest that he has quality of a machine, that is reliable, punctual, exact, etc. And an irregular life has come to be synonymous with a bad life. Against the point of view of Bergson's philosophy was a protest, not to mind wholly sound from an intellectual point of view, but inspired by a wholesome dread of seeing men turned more and more into machines. Here, the essayist is showing how machines are uh, admired by human beings, and machine like life is given praise and credit, and that is a wrong attitude, because by suppressing the natural instincts, human beings have become more dangerous and they have a tendency of war. Machines dominate the thoughts of people who consider themselves serious. Those people who consider that they are serious, they are very much dominated by machines. To them, machine and the life of like machine like life is creditable. The highest praise they give to a man is the qualities which are machine like in him, and these qualities are reliability, punctuality, and exactness. If a person is machine like, so they praise him that he is like machine, he is reliable, because machines are also not doing any error, and they are punctual, they produce anything in time, and they are exact. And an irregular life today has become synonymous with a bad life. If punctuality is not there in life, then people say that he is not good. Against the point of view, Bergson's philosophy was a protest, and Bergson protested this, and not to mind wholly sound like an intellectual point of view, but inspired by a wholesome dread of seeing men turned more and more into machine. Bergson just saw, he was a visionary, he saw that by depending on machines, human beings are becoming machine like, because the company is producing such an effect on them that they are like machines. The greater ferocity of modern war is attributable to machines, which operate three different ways. First, they make it possible to have larger armies. Secondly, they facilitate a cheap press, which flourishes by appealing to men's base of impatience. Thirdly, this is the point that concerns the starved, anarchic, spontaneous side of human nature, which works underground, producing an obscure discontent to which the thought of war appeals as affording possible relief. Here, Russell says that machines are responsible for ferocity of war. Wars today are more ferocious because of machines only. That is the because of machine which operates in different ways. There are three reasons for that. First, machines have made it possible to produce larger armies, because in factories armaments are produced at such a large scale that it is possible to make larger armies. Secondly, machines have facilitated cheap press, and because of cheapness of press, the tortures, the atrocities are just published in newspapers, and people, it can go to all over the world in a few minutes. In this way, earlier times ferocity was not only a few people could be witness to ferocity of wars, which has been possible to spread the news throughout the world in a few minutes. So cheapness of press has also made it possible. Third, and this is appealing to the the baser nature of human beings, because after reading the press, how much flared they are, that can be understood. And the third quality is that they starve the anarchic and spontaneous side of human nature, because machines do not let human beings to be spontaneous, and they also make it antisocial, and that is the reason these things, spontaneity and antisocial elements, antisocial behavior in a man is working underground, because if he is suppressing his natural feelings, then one day there will be an explosion, and this is because obscure in discontent, the dissatisfaction which is becoming obscure, which is hidden, and the thought of war is the only relief for him. So after suppressing this day by day, one day it is taking such a large, such a ferocious form that man is desiring war. So in this way, the desire of war is the result of suppressing our natural feelings. The only way of avoiding the evil at present associated with machinery is to provide breaks in the monotony, even encouragement to high adventures during the intervals. And Russell is giving a solution to the danger which has been produced by machines, and that solution is taking a break from monotonous, from dull life, and encourage human beings to face adventures and take in during intervals. Many men would cease to desire war if they have opportunities to risk their lives in Alps, in alpine climbing, one of the ablest and most vigorous workers for peace that it has been my good fortune to know, habitually spent his summer climbing the most dangerous peaks in Alps. Alps is a chain of mountains near Switzerland. So he says that many men would stop to desire war. The desire for war would stop if they are taking adventures at intervals. They are facing adventures. And one of the person who was a very strong and staunch supporter of peace, he was risking his life at the dangerous peaks of Alpine. In this way, when they are facing adventures, when they are risking their life, the warlike spirits, the warlike feelings in them are exercised, and they no more need war. The only adequate method is to discover what are the needs of our instinctive nature, then to search for the least harmful way of satisfying them. Here Russell says that we should find out what are the needs of our nature, because different people have different instincts, their basic habits are different, and they should satisfy them in their own way. Since spontaneity is what the most thwarted by machines, the only thing they can provide is opportunity. The use made of opportunity must be left to initiative of the individual. So all individuals should make the best use of this opportunity, and they should because spontaneity is thwarted by machines. Machines have opposed the spontaneity. They have deprived a person of spontaneity. So they should take opportunity to exercise this feeling, and the use made of opportunity must be left to initiative of the individual. No doubt considerable expense would be involved, though this is expensive, but Russell says that this expense will be very less in comparison to the expense of war. Understanding of human nature must be the basis of all the real improvements of human life. So what is the demand of the occasion? What is most required thing in today's life is to understand human nature, and then to take solution of whatever psychological problem this modern society is having, because they have the desire of war. So that can be quenched, that can be satisfied by facing adventures and risking their life in intervals. Science has done wonders in mastering the laws of physical world, but our own nature is much less understood. These lines are very satirical lines. They are full of satire. Here, Russell is full of satire. He says that we have worked wonders, but we haven't done any exercise to understand basic human nature. In the nature of stars and electrons, we have worked miracles in the field of stars and electrons, but human nature is still out of our reach. We don't understand that. When science learns to understand human nature, it will be able to bring a happiness into our lives which machines and physical science have failed to create. Machines and physical science haven't got success to understand human happiness, human nature, and only happiness can be brought by understanding them. Now we have to discuss the style of Russell. He has intellectual brilliance. All the essay is full of brilliance, and the subject matter may be complex, but there is clarity and lucidity. Complex matter has been expressed in such a clear, simple language that it is easily understood. And he speaks a lot through a few words. The matter is of scientific temper. For example, machines and emotions. The essays talking about the adventures, the advancement of science. Though he is lacking symbolic language because he is not using very great phrases and symbols, but a few symbols he uses, and he has conveyed his message in a very simple language. Some of the symbols are produced, but very few symbols are there, and there are examples and illustrations. And the most beautiful thing is the elegance, and which is those sentences are very long, but the simple language is conveying the message has been conveyed because of the simplicity of them. Thanks a lot.